Hi and welcome to this week's video. Thankfully Dave Hutton has helped me out with materials, so I've received the materials for doing the undercarriage with the right length legs. So in this video you'll see the front main section of the undercarriage constructed, and I'll start doing a bit of stuff for the firewall while I'm waiting to bend the tubes for the rear section of the legs. So join me. Right then. Okay, so I've been a bit busy. I've done some welding. This isn't the completed item yet. There's still a plate to go onto here, the section coming out to take the rear leg section, and be another plate on that side as well, so that rear leg section will be within plates on both sides to help increase the strength. So a little bit extra weld there, but I've welded the joints here inside and out, and puddle welded on this side through to the tube, so it's got, it's really quite strongly welded. This tube I've sleeved, although that's not sort of shown on the plan, at both ends, because I wanted to have the extra material for where the pivot bolt goes, help to reduce the wear. So it's had a plate, the two front and rear plate at the top, and a plate added to the bottom there, so that the strength, the axle's trying to break out, it just helps to reduce the amount of strain on these AN3 bolts. So having that there, the AN3 bolts now really are only operating in shear with the axle side loads. That's the theory. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to drill these through and ream them quarter, and I'm going to drill these through and ream them quarter, so everything is set up. These stay as AN3, so they're 3/16, which is nice. The jig I used to get the initial bit is quite a simple factor. I had it bolt going through at the top, with this setup going through here, using this as a baseline with a piece of aluminium inside it, and this to jig to make sure everything was at the right position front to rear, and then I tack welded it all on the jig, making a pair, a front and a rear, so sort of left and a right. I didn't make the mistake of making two rights. And I've set this jig up, although it shows on the plan that it's straight across. I've put in here 1 degree of positive camber, because I should imagine when it's rested the bungees are going to be stretched very slightly, and that allows it to go to, with the fully extended, it goes to -5 degrees of camber. So we've got 1 degree of positive camber going to -5 degrees when the undercarriage is fully compressed. There we go. There's a little bit of data for you. Okay, I'll crack on. I've chamfered the end of the block here to the same way as it shows on the plan, to allow for the bungee strut to clear it inside here. So I'm just going to fit this bit in. We'll probably need a little bit of a push to get that in, and I just want it just very slightly proud. And with it like that, I can I'm just going to mark this with a drill for that. Like that. And I'll take this little section, and we can get it fitted so that that's hanging straight down 90 degrees, gives us just enough clearance for the rear nut just there to be dealt with. And I'll now go to the pillar drill. I'll drill through. So I've taken the brake section off, so that's locked in place there with a drill bit of the same size, and I can now drill in. That was drilled right through. So that's now drilled both sides, that's drilled through. I can now ream that. So that's my next bit to do. As those have been drilled through, I can now ream those out to 3/16, and then I'm going to be cutting the end off this this axle here. So there it's drilled through. You can see the back of the axle there where I've trimmed it down a little bit. Bolts going through there. These are AN314As, not what it says on the plan, which then the plan is drawn up around having thick aluminium plates, different lengths being used because this is being steel. I could now fit the back plate on, but what I'm going to do before then is I'm just going to set this little lot up. I'm going to just drill and ream that to match the shock strut, and then we're pretty much done with the leg. So here we have the basic front assembly, and you can see we've got the suspension works. It's tied in at the moment with the safety wires, and all the bolts are just temporarily set up, but that's the basic layout of the front end. As I said earlier, I've put in positive 1 degree of camber, which actually when this is fully extended puts it to a negative, about 5 degrees of negative camber. So it's about 6 degrees or so of camber change during the suspension swing. But there's everything sort of as it is, proven that the pivots work. So I've just got to work out what's going to happen for the rear leg sections, and get that all marked out so I can actually bend the tubes. Hopefully it works to do that, and then we can weld it all together, make up the brace bits, and that'll be that sorted out. So well, I couldn't resist making up the sort of jig for putting the rear section on. This is the rear tube as supplied by Fisher. Bend quite well down, and as you can sort of see, comes out way too short for my uses. And if I put the bend to where I'd like to have the sort of bend, well, the angle's too steep. I mean, it's probably 6 inches too short, I'd say, on its length, but that's by and by. Hopefully I'm going to get the bend right, and the tube's going to come down to here, be attached there, and I want the bend to start about there. Then we have our little cross tube sections, which will go in there, something like that, which will help for the covering to go on. So I've got the rear undercarriage beam, that's all painted up, and that's temporarily put in. I've just put standard nuts on the inside on the grounds I can undo that. I can be able to put the covering, wrap it around the edge here with it loose with an iron, and then go from there just by moving this from side to side a little bit to allow me to do that. Note, bolt going through from the bottom so that I can actually see what will be the nylock nut on the other side, so nice and easy. So that's that bit sort of sorted. I did have to disconnect the control column to this pipe, to the control tube, so I could get that in. Right, I've made two fiberboard templates, one here and one up here. They're at 1/8 of an inch inside the perimeter of the fuselage nose on three sides. At the bottom end here they're flush, and that's what I'm going to use to form the firewall. I've just got to round this edge over here so that it's got a rounded edge, a bit of a radius, and then and do the cutouts for where the bits I've got, the slots I've got for the cowl mountings, which are going to be fitted shortly, are going to be in place, and then we're sort of pretty much there for making up the aluminium section, which will be rounded around. This bit will go in and be have an 1/8 inch lip all the way around, going bent inwards, or 3mm, to allow for the insulating material that's going between the aluminium and the wood. It's no good just plastering a piece of metal straight onto the wood. The heat just goes straight through and would set fire to the wood inside, probably. Although there's no oxygen getting to it, it would take a time to burn through, but with the insulation in there, it takes a lot longer for it to go through. So there we go, that's the bit, and just be an aluminium skin, and the aluminium skin is there just to keep the insulation clean and in place. It's not really, or it will have a bit of a retarding effect on the fire. It's not there for that. Some people just skin this with a piece of galvanized steel. In fact, that's what's supplied by Fisher, is a piece of galvanized steel. That's A, heavy, and B, to my mind, not the ideal solution for what I'm about to do. Well, that's it for this week. Started getting bulkhead bits sorted out, so I can actually form the aluminium front for the bulkhead. Bit of the undercarriage mounting systems are all sorted out now, the U-channels, and got the main front frame of the undercarriage built up, so I just need to get the rear sections done. Hopefully that'll be done in the next video, and I can then get on, paint it, and possibly even go forward to covering it at some stage in the not too distant future. So hopefully you keep well, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up. You can subscribe or even hit the little bell notification for future videos. Any comments would be appreciated, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. Remember, go fly and feel the sky.